Hello everyone, Mr. No Souls here, and today I want to talk to you about a game that I've been playing for a little bit called No Creeps Were Harmed Tower Defense TD. It's an early access game, it's still not complete, and it's not very well known, only sitting at 135 reviews, but as you can see, mostly positive. Some people have a little bit of an issue because some of the maps are a bit difficult or they don't really like how some of the guns in the towers operate. But overall, I'd say with a little bit of flexible thinking and a bit of replayability, like there's a lot of replayability, but sometimes you have to like replay a mission to get like a couple levels up to really be able to make like a 3-star solution to an individual map. um, really requires you to think about what tools you have available. And there's also things like artifacts that give you like certain upgrades and stuff like that. But the game is available base for about 20 bucks. It is in early access, and there is also quite a few expansions that are coming out. It not like you have to buy. I mean like expansions as in like patches that have added on pretty large features. Um, Not very high requirements at all. I mean, this game could run on a toaster, and if you like games like Rogue Legacy or Monkey Tower Defense, you're gonna like any of these games. It's in a very similar vein, and we're just going to jump right into it. And I am going to warn people, when you first start it, it is very, very loud, like many games. So you're going to want to drop your volume a little bit, get into the settings, and then lower the volume. I've already done some of the initial cleanup, but it's not that big of a thing. Let's go into the settings. Here you can see the preferences, so you can turn on and off the story. Turn that off. I'm going to turn off the tutorials because I no longer need that. You can turn on special themes and stuff like that that they'll kind of throw in there. So like winter and a bunch of different stuff. Display. It's kind of weird that you can manually select all this. It's a little bit unusual, but it works, I guess. Just a little sloppy. You have all your settings you can turn on, so like VSync, secondary lightings, like creep kind of settings. You can put your frame rates, how much you want, like anti-aliasing and stuff. I have the music off by default because I like having my own music on, but the music in the game isn't bad by any like stretch of the imagination. It is definitely worthwhile to keep it on, but when you're like talking to a bunch of dudes and you have this going on in the background, sometimes it doesn't really match up the vibe, you know, just a chill conversation, and then you have like the smooth techno whatever going on in the background that's just like, this is way too jazzy for what I am doing right now. But not the game. It's very fitting for the game. So, screen edge, scroll, cursor jail, all there. And then, of course, your controls. So, you do have a character, and he has a gun, and you tell him to move around with F. But the tutorial takes you through most of the stuff. You can rebind it, of course, but it's pretty straightforward across the board. You can also change your languages, and I believe that is everything. You can also play with, apparently it allows up to 4-player, but from what I've only been seeing, it only allows 2 players to connect. I don't know if there's a mod or something you're supposed to be running with it to get more than 2 people, but um, I've always been playing with my brother, and we've had a lot of fun doing it. There's public servers, and you can host your own servers. Um, then of course you can disconnect. So all setups. I'm going to drop this down to medium, and you can see here I've been going through and just learning how to really complete it all the way through. And if you complete it on hard, as you can see, with perfect, you get that little trophy at the end. So if you go to medium, you get 3 stars. If you complete it on hard, you get 3 stars plus a trophy. So I think, do I want to try? I've already done this on hard. Let's see if I can pull this one off on hard. You know, this is going to be difficult, but it will be a good way of showing off all the individual skills that you need to use for this game. So, high level, this is who you are, your character. You are a floating brain jar. You are a greedy man. You have a shield. You have base movement speed. There are cloaked enemies, especially when you get later on. There can be quite a few cloaked enemies that can, like monkey tower defense, like you could blow up those big zeppelins, and then you'd have the camouflage balloons show up afterwards. Or balloon tower defense. That's what I'll try to remember. So yeah, it's like you can end up with similar situations, or they just spawn base out of the spawners, which are these things. Can't hurt them, and you can see there's quite a bit of verticality and changing. Center mouse wheel allows you to move around the map, so you can reposition to see things better. And generally speaking, whenever you click a surface, you are going to go to that perpendicular line between that surface and your character. You can also upgrade your damage, your range, can you detect cloak, and you can see it says like count of 1, so there's only 1 upgrade here. Well, this one has 7 upgrades, this one is 4, so yeah, get the general idea. Now, there are some special environmental things, like these Gleep Vaults. These will give you money if you kill them. And you can see right there, it gives you 1,500 for popping it. And then there's the Remote Bomb, which you can detonate, and it will go and set everything off. So, not going to worry about that right now. We're going to want to split up this path just a little bit, so let's do that. And oh, whoops, I did not mean to do that. So, I'm going to need... that. I'm going to have to target that for a kill. And I'm going to start off with a blaster right there. And then I'm going to throw a blaster right there. So, you have to build all the individual constructions. And you can see over here I have 3 artifacts and they're giving me a couple different bonuses, but we're not going to worry about it too much. We're going to rush it, and then we're going to target these 2.
Is that an order?
There we go. I'm actually going to detonate that. Oh, didn't do nearly as much as I was hoping, but it's fine. Okay. Okay, and then I'm going to come over here. I'm going to do something a little madmanish. And then I'm going to just wall and wall. No, I flubbed that one, so I'm not going to get a perfect on this one. But that's kind of the situation. You have to be really careful about what you're doing, otherwise you end up accidentally screwing yourself over very quickly. Let's just come down here. Let's just take that out really quick. Okay, there we go. Okay, now that will handle all of this. And then I am going to put down another flame turbine that way.
Okay, settle down.
And we're going to burn that all the way through. I'm actually going to sell that, and I'm going to put a splatter gun. Yeah, I can't do anything right there, unfortunately. Yeah.
Fine.
Up the fire rate, up to projectiles. And see, the danger of these fires are that it really speeds up your enemies, but they do so much DPS, it can be really worthwhile if you get it exactly right. Then what I want next is something like you have your just base kind of reading through it. You have your blasters, you have your basic walls that you've seen, you have artillery, which have their own kind of weaknesses. The splatter gun, which has really close range, like it can fire at a distance, but it's really only effective at close range. And it just is really good for nailing through a good row of enemies. You can right click on things and put on auto upgrades, so as soon as I get enough credits, it will run through, spacebar pauses it, and then you can rush the waves as necessary. So let's just keep it going. I'm gonna have to. You can set a priority, allow your character to build, or you can also make other things to build for you. Technically they're repair bots, but they do a good enough job. Okay. You're also going to notice here there is a wave that pretty much lists out like how many enemies you're seeing, but the thing is, if you get over 200 enemies on the field, you're going to start getting some of the more advanced mutations that you only see kind of later on. You'll start getting them way earlier, and they'll have more health. And here you can see we have teleporters, and they just rush all the way up to like wherever the most forward-facing bend is. So it's really important to make sure that you have like kinks in the line, that way they're not able to just rush their entire way through your position. And it's going to take a minute because I have to wait for all these guys to get through effectively, but it is doing its job. There we go. Beautiful. I can up the damage. I think I will actually. Even though it's going to slow down my ability to upgrade other things. The big thing is that flame is just destroying so many of my enemies. That and this splatter gun are both like my main line right now. This is doing some work as well, but it's not a big one. Not a big one of concern, at least. And the beauty is with these AoEs, it doesn't really care if they're like stealthed, because you do have stealth enemies, but if you're just attacking in the general area, it doesn't matter. So you can go and like kind of circumvent some of the stealth defenses by using these kind of tools, but they're not perfect. Okay, let's drop that. Actually, it'd been better if I put a flamer right there. Hindsight being 2020. Yeah, I could still put another flamer there. So, gonna get enough creds here soon.
Sweet.
Yep, those dots, they do a lot of work. Ooh, nope. Don't need to. Perfect. That's the power of all that fire. Really does do a lot of work here. Okay, there we go. And see, now that's completed, so I don't have to worry about that. But to that end, I'm now going to need... Where's my ground pounder?
More work.
Ooh. I'm gonna have to move over here really quick.
Seriously.
Just to... Okay, now we gotta come back over.
Understood. Okay, settle down.
And then you can see here special tile effects. So like you notice this one gives them like a movement speed increase, but it also does fire damage. This one alternatively gives me an increase in damage range and fire rate. So it's like certain things are better to be placed on those type of like tile sets.
Hurry it up already.
now I have that doing cloak detection, so we'll handle that. Gonna need to up the range on this most likely. Though fire rate also would be a pretty big improvement. I don't really need to worry about it just yet. Yep. There we go. So that's all I need, just a little bit of damage, and then the AoEs kind of handle. Oh boy, I'm not paying attention.
Take it due rate.
Okay, there we go. Okay.
Settle down. I'm on it.
There we go. Now I'm hitting pretty much everything that I really need, and I'm always getting some value. This thing's gonna need to keep doing some work, so
Really?
go. I think I'm gonna up my range here just a little bit, because I'm hitting everything that I really need to, and I have enough damage to do the work that I need. I just need to make sure I'm able to keep the DPS coming out and cover the area. So, yep. He's doing his job, so. Could put another one right there, but I just feel like there's limited value in that, so I think I might go get rid of that for the interim. And then I'll eventually put another ground pounder in that location.
You just keep coming.
Yeah, we got this here. Easily enough. And you can see, so 30 is the target wave, and then I'm going to hit endless after that. So pretty much, got all this. Beautiful. See here, ground pounder. Could also do something like a mini U fabricator, which creates like a mini version of myself. But I could also do something more advanced like an SRM, which is pretty powerful. So I think I'm actually going to go with that as my solution here. And it's going to seem a little crazy. There's going to be a method to my madness. It's going to target the strongest. Just 2 more. There we go. And look how well it's just handling everything for me. And then it hits pretty much everything. It has a little bit of AoE, but I also just want to destroy those gloop towers so that way I can get the extra credits at some point. Where is it? Ground pounder. Put another one right there. And every time it increases my tax just a little bit, so it's not a good idea to have too many like things built at a given time, but they do have their uses. So I'm going to prioritize knocking all that out. And then I'm just going to up the damage here. Ooh, see, now I got the big boys coming in. These are the bosses. So sometimes they can spawn things. Most of the time they just die, and then they hurt everything once they've died. So it's pretty important to hunt those things down pretty early on. And particularly what I like to use, and you'll see from my artifact, I have something that gives me instant reload on my ranger turret. My ranger turret is my answer to most of the bosses. Like if you have a pretty tight area that like a lot of enemies are running to, like sometimes you could have like something going along on both sides. It can be worthwhile to like use artillery to just get that splash damage wherever you need it. Especially when you have like bending tracks and stuff like that, it can be a pretty big thing. But in this case, I don't think I'm going to need artillery for this. Right now, the optimal choice, I think, is really just letting my SRM kind of handle anything from a distance that's big, and then when I don't need it, I'll just have it hit little guys for me. And a splatter is just handling everything that really has any type of protection. It really does do really well at penetrating the target. Yeah. And here I'm almost at the end. Ooh, Nelly, that's a lot of bugs. And they are quite tanky. Okay, there we go. Yeah. I think that's what comes out of these guys when they finally go down. Yeah, see right there. Stealth enemies. Oh no, they're not stealth, they're just a pain in the butt. Do I really want do I want to upgrade my damage? I think it might be better off not to upgrade my damage here. Focus more on upgrading my damage here.
Nice.
Okay. Now let's go with Nano Fixer. So over here you're gonna see I have a bunch of like power moves that I can drop. Some of them fix things. Some of them go and give boosts to like turrets. Others of them like pull everything together. Some things buff your actual character. So it's like there's a lot of different ways you can use POW that's slowly built up. And there's ways to like increase it. So like if you use the quantum form, you can get more credits per kill, but then you can also increase your actual like power buildup. So both pretty useful. Situational, but useful.
Yeah, yeah.
There we go. There we go. I think I'm going to need to start considering getting that, let's see, where Ranger turret.
But for what purpose? Sweet. More work.
Okay, next is going to be myself. I need to upgrade that.
Understood.
Also, just I'm going to be quiet for a minute because I want you guys to enjoy this music a little bit. Like it's got a little bit of like, you know, pizzazz to it. It's got a little bit of like drive, you know. It's really good music. Like it is definitely not weak.
More work. If you say so.
Also, thing to note, health and armor both can be upgraded, and they're pretty useful. Like, an armor upgrade can literally be the difference between losing, like, maybe almost a quarter of your health to, like, losing, like, half of a quarter. Like, armor is nothing to laugh at. It is important, and it is useful.
Splat.
Screw it, we're gonna go all the way. Yeah, right there, you just saw the instant reload. So it's like getting that fire rate up, pretty much all of it is pretty important. And I'm not going to worry about doing things like perfectly here. Because I can't get like level 3, so I'm just going to focus on clearing the level. But you can see, like, these missions can take quite a while. And I mean, if you're rushing things you can get significantly less time. And like right there is the end. Yeah, just look at the sheer speed of these things. Like these enemies get really fast. So it's like you need to have an actual like contingency plan all set up. But if you have a good strategy and enough of bends to handle the teleporters, and you have things that can actually handle the invisibility enemies, you can do just about anything that you really need. Yeah, actually, I need to drop these two, drop that, and I need to focus range because it's not engaging them at a far enough distance. Because a big problem is when you start getting these guys inside the group, A, they drop all those guys off past the kill zone, and B, then they're also really kind of damaging all your towers. So it's important to make sure you're eliminating them in an efficient manner. Let's just go right there. There we go. Beautiful. Yeah, we got this. I don't think I'm going to be losing this one. I have enough damage as is that we're probably just going to clean them out well enough. And you can see, like, when they come around the corner, some enemies are significantly slower. Some of them are actually, like, a little faster around corners, but generally they're pretty slow. But then you get some enemies that they're just, it doesn't matter. Like, you can easily just catch them at a corner. So it's like making sure that you actually have an efficient strategy to, like, kill them. Oh boy. Let's see here. I think I might need another splatter gun. Yeah, if enough of those pellets hit, it definitely does some work. But there we go. That should at least slow down the teleporters. I could put a lag field somewhere, and that would be a really good thing to have, like, right here. I think I might. Okay, let's go. Lag fields can come.
Seriously?
Let's just get that up the range of it. There we go. Okay. You know what? Screw it. That handles that. Okay, he's got enough range now. Now I need him to aim a little faster. So many upgrades though, and they each get just more expensive, so really making sure like you're being efficient. It is important. But yeah, this is a very simplified mission all the way through. And like, this isn't an optimal setup by any stretch of the imagination. I've done significantly better, but it is perfectly fine. You can see here, got a 15% victory bonus, and we'll just finish the map here just to show you. And you can see now I get to pick an artifact, and they have a whole bunch of different kind of like improvements. So repair field on death, so instantly complete construction tasks will restore destroyed structures to working condition, and like that's not bad. So 40% on death, it's going to either repair things or fix things around it. This is for the ground pounder, so it just gets a double hit effectively. Laser gate damage increase. Splatter gun, which is the shotgun that I was using, can improve my damage. Will upgrade the ground pounder's damage, and then the mini U fabricator. So, and then freeze on hit. So different tool can effectively get a freezing effect, so stop them in their tracks. But I don't really want anything that's under like legendary. I'm not really getting. So there we go. But you can see here, I have 3 legendaries that I really like. But this one isn't bad either. It's a freeze wave on a ground pounder. Even though it's only a rare and it's not that strong, sitting only at like 10%, you know, I can improve it. See? So, goes up. But it's still not like the best. There are better ways to upgrade them, though I'm far from an expert on how to go about it. But yeah, anyways, that is No Creeps Were Harmed TD. This is a game that's available for $19.99, roughly 20 bucks USD, and I think anyone that really enjoys tower defense games should really take a look at this. Anyways, thank you guys for joining me, and have a good day. Bye bye.